Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Jake Perry, your mortgage expert. One of the things I love about being a homeowner is relaxing on my porch. In this video, I'm going to show you why the cost of waiting to buy a home is only going to get more expensive. As the housing market continues to get back on track, we're seeing demand start to increase. But with some buyers out there are still waiting for interest rates to drop before they are comfortable going after a property because they don't like the mortgage payment. Well, the cost of waiting is only going to get more expensive, and I'm going to tell you why. One of the things you must pay attention to when buying a house is not just the interest rate, but really about the opportunity cost, and the cost of waiting can get more expensive. Let's say you wait till interest rates drop back in this last half of the year. What do I mean by that? Well, right now interest rates are hovering around 7%. That's actually a good thing because it's cooling the market off just enough for buyers to potentially look at some inventory. There's still not enough out there, but right now you could potentially get a house. And when buying a house, you can't just look at the rate. You can't just look at the payment. You got to look at what inventory is available, what is priced at, what the opportunity cost if somebody waits until the back half of the year, until interest rates drop by 0.5%. You know, not the only one waiting. There are people out there, 2 or 3 times as many buyers. The inventory will go away and get more expensive. So right now, as a buyer, you need to be focused on the total opportunity of buying a house. What does that mean? Prices of houses available, inventory, closing costs, and concessions. I think this is a big one that most people don't pay attention to. If you're going to get a property right now at $500,000, between 6 and 7%, you can get $10,000 to $15,000 in closing costs and concessions that the seller literally gives you, and you save out of pocket. If you purchase that same house 6 months from now at $500,000 and maybe around a 5.5% interest rate, sure, it's going to save you $100+ a month, but the demand for that house is going to go up, and these sellers are not going to negotiate for your closing costs. So you really lose $10,000 to $15,000 that you can keep in your pocket. That's what I want to talk to you about when it comes to opportunity costs. Is you looking forward to the future. If you say, hey, I saved $150, $200 a month on my payment, but had to pay more for the house, and even more if you didn't get the credits, the $10,000 in credits, it's going to cost you a lot more money. So you saved a little bit in the payment, but you got to come up with extra $10,000, $15,000 in closing costs alone. Regardless of the price of the house, that would take you 7 or 8 years to break even. To get the money back, the opportunity cost is a huge deal when you're looking at the property with your realtor. Again, you can't just focus on interest rate and the payment. You can see what happened during COVID when interest rates were incredible, right? Obviously, the rates dropped and the demand goes through the roof. So people were just buying houses at the time, focused on a great deal on the interest rate and a great deal on the payment. But of course, you know that the housing was much more for the house. Even though it was listed, they got no closing costs. People were paying 30, 40, 50 grand out of pocket. So right now is the ideal time for buyers to buy. Just like the old saying, marry the house, date the rate. We all know the back half of 23 and 24, interest rates are going to come down. They always come down following inflation. As inflation goes up, rates go up. As inflation comes down, rates will go down. And obviously, moving into an election year, they'll probably come down naturally off of inflation. But there might be a little bit of a rate cut as well to stimulate the economy. If you're a buyer right now, you've got to take an interest rate of 6.5% to 7%. Remember, it's a short-term play, right? You're probably going to keep this mortgage and make payments on this home for maybe 6 months, 9 months, 12 months at the most. And when refinances happen and rates drop, then you can just improve your financial position, lower your interest rate, and do a refi at that point in time. At least you've got the house that you want at the price that you want. The other thing about the cost of waiting outside the interest rate is the inventory, even going to be available. That is a big thing I want people to think about. If you know that house that you're, and you have eyeballs on right now, that's $450,000 at an interest rate of 6.5% to 7%. There will be at least 3 or 4 times as many buyers to come off the sidelines when rates drop again, permanently below 6%. And everybody's going to be going after the same property. So it may not even be available at today's price at $450. It may be $460, it may be $480. You might even have to pay $500,000 depending on the demand. So the other thing to remember is you're actually going to make money by buying now while the property you buy is $450. Let's say 9 months from now, 12 months from now, interest rates are in the mid-5s, low 5s. There's a lot of demand there, going to be a lot of buyers buying homes in the neighborhood. And because of the massive demand, it's going to push the price up. So $450 house may be $475, $500. So as a buyer, that's great because your return on investment increases so fast and you're actually making money on the equity in the property because of the demand in the area. The other great thing about making that equity outside of what you know is helping you create wealth is when you refinance. You'll be at a better loan to value position. Refinances are graded on loan to value, very much like purchases. So what I mean is, if let's say you have 10% equity, that is a 90% loan to value. So the money you make, you put down on the purchase is a better deal you get. So you start out doing 10% down at $450, and 9 months later, at 12 months later, your property is worth $500,000. And you go to refinance, and the interest rate is now worth $500,000 loan to value. So I've talked to you about the cost of waiting. I've talked to you about interest rates. Now is the time to buy. Don't wait. Now's the time. Thank you so much, Jake Perry, Fairway Mortgage. Have a great day.